Hear, O Israel, the great I am is the only power for you. The great I am is one. Speak peace on the seventh day of rest. Rise, O Israel. Welcome to Word War 3. Our reference today will be Daniel chapter 6. And this message will be entitled President or President Representative. Now, I'm going to give you a list of senators, representatives, and even presidents that have been either associated with the Ku Klux Klan or even hinted at being a Ku Klux Klan representative. Well, such as being a representative of the United States, but so associated with the Ku Klux Klan. Now, let's go. So, first of all, we have this Edward Douglas White Jr., who was born November 3rd, 1845, during slavery. And he died May 19, 1921. And we get from him the antitrust law. And it's known in Europe as the anti-competition law. That's really important for you Negroes to know. He was the 9th Chief Justice of the Supremacist Court. The 9th Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. He was also a captured Confederate soldier. This is your 9th Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. You need to know this. And during his lifetime, the Plessy versus Ferguson 163 U.S. 537 of 1896. This was going along the separate but equal status of the United States. They were saying, we're equal, but we would be separate people, black and white. And the Grandfather Clause, the 7/8 Grandfather Clause, which assisted in the disenfranchisement of black people. Before I go any further, Indigenous Hebrew Israelite Awakening is not a racist hate group. We simply live here. We live right here. Let's keep going. Now, during his stint in the government, we're still talking about Edward Douglas White Jr., who was the 9th Chief Justice of the Supremacist Court, the 9th Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. During his lifetime, during his stint as representing the government, 3 KKK laws came out. The first KKK Act of 1870, the second KKK Act of 1870, and then the third KKK Act, which is Public Law 42-22, and it came out in 1871. These came out in his lifetime, in his stint as representative, Chief Justice of the United States Supremacist Court. Moving along, we have Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court, Hugo Black. That's Hugo Lafayette Black. He was born February 27, 1886, and he died September 25th, 1971. How many of you were living during 1971? We have the Mayor of Los Angeles, John Clinton Porter, April 4th, 1871 to May 27, 1959. When was the Los Angeles riots taking place? These things are falling into play. You're going to see. Mississippi Senator Theodore Gilmore Bilbo. October 13, 1877 is when he was born, and he died August 21st, 1947. I want to add, which is not in my notes, excuse me for 1 second. I want to add, which is not in my notes, a man by the name of James Strom Thurmond Sr. And he was born December 5th, 1902, and he died June 26, 2003. He was a United States Senator, He was also president pro tempore of the United States Senate. And he was a Dixicrate. Now, I need you Negroes who are so democratically in tune to vote democracy under the Democratic ticket to pay close attention. Now, his successor, Strom Thurmond, his successor was Robert C. Byrd. That's Robert Carlisle Byrd. His original name was Cornelius Calvin Sales Jr. And he was born November 20th, 1917 through June 28, 2010. 2010. This man was known to be a part of the KKK. This Robert C. Byrd in the Democratic Party was known to be a part of the KKK. Do you know that? Most of you don't. Most of you Negroes don't read. And that is one of the things that a lot of you Negroes fail, because you voted into this system and you don't know who you were supporting. Democratic Party. Robert C. Byrd again. And he was the successor from Strom Thurmond. And he became the president pro tempore of the United States Senate. Again, these are the people who are controlling your destiny as civil rights activists, as civil rights leaders, as civil people. I just wanted to add that to my notes, that I didn't have these two these two representatives of the United States. So I wanted to add those two to my notes. And again, we have the fifth Grand Wizard of KKK, David Ernest Duke. That's David Duke. Some of you guys know him. And he was born July 1st, 1950. This man's still alive. He's a member of the House of Representatives of the state of Louisiana from the 81st district. Also, he ran for president. And his son-in-law, one of his good friends, his son-in-law became the sixth Grand Duke of the KKK. Do you know that? Now, they have a website called the Stormfront, which is a KKK website. And again, going back to the 1870s, you have the first, second, and third KKK acts. But yet, we have up until 2010 and even beyond, where the KKK is still in existence. And you Negroes want to go and vote for democracy under a Democratic ticket, under a Republican ticket. I want y'all to understand that here in Maryland, there's a National Ku Klux Klan Museum, and it has been given a 501c3 status, just like any church in America. Even the Church of Satan has a 501c3, which is being recognized by the United States government. Whereas most of you Negroes, they don't even recognize your origin. They don't recognize you as originally indigenous. They're recognizing these hate groups, but they don't recognize you. And I don't want to skip the issue as to where many of you youngsters are out there protesting, burning down the United States. You have every right to. It's written in the Constitution. Whenever there's an issue, you have a right to redress the government, a right to assemble and redress the government. This is written in the Constitution. And it should not be any government to say, hey, okay, now that all the riots are over, we're going to charge you with destruction of property. No, because it's written in the Constitution. The government didn't listen to you. So you have every right to go out and destroy this government because it's based upon we the people, right? That's what the document says. But they're going to twist you up with words, just like they twisted up these Negroes here with these 3 KKK acts. But yet, the KKK still exists, even to this day. The little understanding you have of simple reading, this government is going to get you to protest the wrong things. And need I remind you, it is a good thing that people are protesting the death of George Floyd. But Miss Breonna died in her own home. They entered her home with a no-knock warrant. And all of this craziness is going on because they're the police, the government is just trying to protect their face, and they're trying to blame her man, Mr. Kinney. Again, reading in between the lines here, you got people who are representing a government that's saying that they're representing this document of their forefathers, and they're not even paying attention to it. When their forefathers said, destroy this government when it becomes evil, destroy it. So you protesters have every right to protest and destroy. You have every right to. But the government is giving you pushback. And oh yeah, they're going to try to charge you for destruction when that's what is supposed to happen during a riot, when the government is not listening to you. And there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, why destroy the businesses? Well, you have a contract with the government. You have a contract with the government. The people are supposed to destroy when the government is not listening. They're supposed to do that. That's what's supposed to happen. Especially with a government who is upholding the KKK, a terrorist group. But yet they're giving grants, they're recognizing the KKK. Again, here in Silver Springs, Maryland, there's a National Ku Klux Klan Museum with a 501c3. Even the Church of Satan has one, a 501c3. They're recognizing, a terrorist group. I'm not saying that the Church of Satan is a terrorist group, but I am saying that the KKK is known to be a terrorist group. They know that. What you guys don't know is outside of the United States, the United Nations and other nations are trying to decolonize. You can see South Africa right now. They're trying to get rid of the colonization of Europeans in South Africa. Right here in the United States, people are protesting racism. And even other countries are seeing that racism is a really evil factor that's still going on. So they're protesting in other countries for Mr. George Floyd. But I want to tell you guys, I want to remind you guys that you're protesting the wrong thing. Because again, these protests, they are manufactured by the government. The government makes it allowable. They're protesting the wrong thing. Let me tell you what the right thing is. The right thing to protest is complete separation. That's the right thing. Because if you're protesting for a government, or protesting underneath the laws of a government, that government still exists. And they're going to keep you acting. Because again, they have these acts that come out. The Civil Rights Act. They're going to keep you acting civil. Whereas they can keep acting evil. But they have you acting civil. They want you to be civil. And they're going to later charge you for acting riotous. When the Constitution says destroy the government when it becomes evil. But this government, who don't want to destroy itself, they're going to charge you. So the right thing to be protesting is for decolonization. And not just that, but for an actual treaty of peace. As original Hebrews or as original indigenous people, or as Autochtons, or as, the aboriginals of the planet. That's what you ought to be protesting for. You should not be protesting for an equality under a supremacist government. Because true equality as a people, you would be equal. You would have your own government. You would not have to be subservient to a racist tyrannical government system. You will be actual equal. You will look people directly in the eyes and tell them, hey, your laws are crazy. Go on about your business. That's what true equality is. I'll put the link of Decolonization down in the box below. You guys can check that out. Come visit us at Indigenous Hebrew Israelite Awakening at facebook.com. And if you like to donate as well. I am a Hebrew Israelite. I am also a conscientious objector and an administrator of peace. Hebrew Israelite out.